down because they know they're in trouble. Because one of the worst things to do in a cosmic reality is not know what time the cosmic clock says. And right about now, when you look out at nature and you see the flooding and the hurricanes, we're about to go through a cycle. And we better hold on. Because it ain't about Nini. It's about Kwame and Ahine. Because that's what's coming. Every hurricane comes from Africa. Right. And you've been noticing how more they've been coming? It comes from the cold and the hot mixing in this area and exploding and sending whirlwinds from the coast of Africa across into the Gulf of Mexico and up the coast of the United States. Native Americans saw these things coming. They call them down there, the Taino call them hurricane. This history is left out. The Taino word for water is bakwa, left out. These are fundamental principles that we as a community should understand and we should know. Arming ourselves intellectually with this information and going into the classroom in order to teach our children. He says here, let me express here once again my theory of so-called race. It is this. There is a single human race which, by imperceptible degrees, shades from the blonde of the Scandinavian to the blackness of the Senegambian or the Solomon Islander with the Sicilian or the Maltese somewhere in the center. Some people, as the Portuguese, are nearer to the blonde, while some people, as the Portuguese, are nearer to the blonde, while others, as those of Mauritania or southern India, are nearer to the black. Therefore, when I see anywhere, no matter where, an individual whose appearance is Negroid, that is, if his face is contour, his lips, nose, hair, present, what a lifetime of observation has taught me about how Africoid or African people look, I would say that that person had a Negro African ancestor, near or distant, according to the Negroid sign he or she presents. When we look at people that have large noses, whenever you see someone with very curly hair, you don't have, no matter how light complexion they are, you don't have to ask if they're African. Genetically, you cannot get curly hair without having an African strain. That just doesn't happen. Because the nature of what curled that hair was the biological, climatological impact the sun had on your head. You cannot have curly, what is called kinky hair, in cold climates. It doesn't exist. Because the absence of the sun will allow an oil to be produced that will make a curly hair straight. In other words, it would die. Because that's what straight hair is. I don't mean to say it like that. By matter of degree, I'm somewhere on that degree. But curly hair, African hair, is original hair. That hair is the hair that humans were meant to have. The hair that I have was not the original archetype. When the Creator sat down and developed, the Creator said, that's what could be. But what's going to make things happen is the curly hair that is elliptical in orbit, because elliptical hair will catch the harmful rays of the sun and reroute them away from the scalp. Whereas straight hair will allow the harmful rays to penetrate, hit the skull, and I'll get skull cancer. Or anyone else will get skull cancer. This has to do with biology. Nothing with superiority, because Dr. King was right. It's the content of your character that makes you who you are. But because they have taken these physical attributes and infused them and breathed the life of superiority in them, when you go to the other side, it seems as if that's bad because we're saying this is good, and that's not what I'm saying. Merely I'm saying you shouldn't have swung the pendulum that far there, because to get it to the middle, it got to swing back this far. So for you to say that what you have is superior, I got to let you know, no, it's not. Even if by matter of degree I possess it, I will admit that I am not the archetype. I am not what the original human being looked like. By matter of degree, with Native American blood mixing with African blood, phenotypically and physically, this is what I have become. And by the way, if you want to see what the original Native American looked like, he was my complexion. Native American was not that complexion that they said. Just think about what they were called when these Europeans came to this land. They called them redskins. But look at what the Native American called them. Pale face. Right. Well, when you got pale face and red skin, there's a deep difference between these complexions. You can't be a lighter complexion and someone see you so stark different from them. It's like that story of Moses who put his hand in his cloth and brought it out white. That's evidence that he was black. Right. he was white and he brought it out, that would have been a miracle. It's when you're my color. If I brought out a white hair, that's a miracle.
Break it down, brother. Break it down.
Even in their own writings, they will tell you what the truth really is. But because they create the illusion, because they tell you that he looks this way, no matter what they may say in the writing or even in the picture, we will still say, like Carter G. Woodson said, that African folks sometimes have been going in the back door so long that if we went into a house that didn't have a back door, we build one just to get in.
Okay.
Because when you become comfortable with something, you start doing it, even if it's not to your better good. Because there were some of us that told Harriet Tubman, what you want to go up there for? Don't you know we happy down here? Master treat us right. And Harriet just took her pistol and her Bible and went on her way. That didn't turn me on, you know. Any sister walk the earth with a pistol in one hand and a Bible in another. That turns me on. That's a real sister. I'd have followed that sister 18 times. I'd have said, I'll go back to it. No, don't leave me here, Harriet. You got to take me with you. That's power. The European woman wanted her freedom. She demonstrated she threw her bra in the middle of the street and burned. Sisters in Africa want their freedom. They took off their breasts so they could fire the arrow better. So that when they pull that arrow back, they could pull it back far. That's the sister that wants her freedom.
Right.
Now, when you do that, you tell me you want to be free.
That's true.
Professor Rogers goes on. He says, as regards the term nature, I see it in no anthropomorphic sense. In other words, he did not look to nature to be anything that was physical in a sense, a plant or an animal or a human. He did not see that as nature. I do not think of it as a deity, but as a means of the totality of all things. That unknown force which is forever being unfolded and within which lies the destiny of all things. The term nature is inadequate, of course, but since it is impossible to find a correct name that seems to me as good as any other, I have also tried to get away from the crass materialism of the Western concept. He says, happily there is a certain trend in the West today towards the animism of the East and of Africa. He's saying that now there's this new thing, back in this day, where people are becoming interested in Africa, becoming exotic. It's becoming something that people want to identify with. And this is why we have to see that we have always set the pace. Always have we set the pace for everything. Right now, America is riding the back of our children on the hip-hop nation and on rap. That's what's fueling their economy right now. You know, we had a brother by the name of Abiodun, one of the last poets. We used to bring the brothers to come speak to the children. And to get the young brothers and sisters to understand the impact that they were having all around the world. He was trying to explain to them the role that rap has played, and as you can see at the Apollo, that those three Japanese brothers that were doing all that dancing, winning first place in all of Showtime at the Apollo. Rap is big in Japan. They're rapping in the Filipinos. They're rapping all over the world. They're rapping in different languages. And they're rapping just like the brothers with the same hand, with the sisters are coming off the same way. And Abiodun was attempting to get the young people to understand their impact because they'll steal from you, okay? There'll be clothing people that will come and they'll toss their clothing in our community. And they'll watch how the brothers will put their hats. And they'll watch how they put the shirts. And all of a sudden they start seeing these young brothers with the pants below their underpants. So what did they do? They started to make jeans with underwear rim built in the top. Because that was the style. Okay? When I was growing up, we used to grab one of my mother's nylons, because in them days they used to have garter stuff, so there used to be two. Pantyhose didn't come in these days. So we used to take that stocking, and we cut the head off or tie the top, and we wrap that on our head. Okay? Now, when you go to this store here, they got these things in all different colors, and all they did was take the same stocking, cut the top, put it in a package, and now it's about $3.49. We started to wear sneakers where we didn't lace them up. They started to build sneakers that had special laces that you didn't have to tie, that had those little Velcro on the side. They watched them because they knew that whatever the black youth did, the entire world youth would follow. And our young people in their youth may not have grasped that. So